Hi guys, welcome back to RTs Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud. With me, your host, Linda Fry, the Asthma Lady. Yes, welcome everyone. Welcome to anyone new. And I just wanted to say to everyone, all the RTs out there, I hope you had an amazing respiratory care week. I took a little break. Need those vacations. And yeah, I just hope that everyone was treated well that week. And I also wanted to give a shout out to my last guest co-host, Shashika Hayes. She was great and she really dropped the gems on being an early career respiratory therapist and just being vocal on social media. So with that being said, I just wanted to introduce our episode here today. The topic of the day is stop waiting for approval and building our self-validation. Okay, and where this is coming from is on social media. I saw some of the tone for some RTs during Respiratory Care Week where they felt undervalued, not appreciated because the institution that they work for didn't, show them the love during that week once again. And so I wanted to dive deep into that topic on how we can internally learn how to clap for ourselves and feel fulfilled in that matter. All right, guys. So yes, let's jump right in. Self-validation is essential in today's environment, especially in the healthcare field and in other high demand professions. So let me tell you about, my story of starting this podcast, which I have mentioned before previously. Speaking of that, we have just reached 3 years. Yay! We 3 years old now. So we are a toddler. Yes. All right, guys. So when it comes to self-validation, I did not wait for anybody to tell me to start this podcast. And to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was doing when I first started. I really wasn't watching a whole bunch of podcasts out there. What I did was I just saw that there was a need for positive edutainment for those of us in the respiratory care field. And so I started in 2021 and I started with 3 episodes. And let's just say I wasn't receiving a whole bunch of high praise for the show. A matter of fact, I want to say I got crickets, right? When it came to, being followed and the likes and, folks subscribing. But what helped me was clapping myself, giving myself a high five and giving myself the pat on the back for even starting the podcast, because I said it in my head. I drew the picture of my logo and I said, I'm going to start a podcast. And before the negative thoughts and all the negative self-talk kicked in, I actively was writing stuff down. I wrote down my first 3 episodes and I was very proud that I actually made it happen. So this process, starting off like that, actually helped me to continue working on this podcast. And here I am today, 3 years later. I literally watched 1, 2, 5 subscribers at a time on Spotify and on YouTube. So we grew, but we were growing slowly. But I was very proud. And I always set the milestones for my podcast. I was like, okay, if I get to 20, 20 new followers or new listeners, within the next whatever timeline, success, you know what I'm saying? And then when I would reach that, I would contact my siblings and I'll be like, yes, another milestone achieved. So they were a part of my success system, my support system, my success journey. But the validation was not coming from them because they didn't truthfully enough understand the journey that I was on, but they were happy for me. But so the validation was coming from me ultimately, continuously clapping for myself. And I think why we often look for validation from others can come from a few things that have happened to us over the course of our lives. It could be our upbringing. It could be the professional environments that we are in, work, school, waiting for hearing the praises from our parents, and whether we got that or not. So oftentimes this is how we develop, have the need for other people telling us what our self-worth is. And it could be hard to break that cycle when you are used to, or when you crave having others give you words of encouragement and praise and giving you the likes and the follows and whatnot. It's just an extremely hard time now, especially with social media, because everybody's intentions are, hey, look at me, I'm doing these great things, and you're looking for the likes, and folks, a lot of folks out here, they want to go viral. They want massive following and want to be voices of influence, because in shape or form, we all want to be heard and be seen. So it can be very challenging nowadays, especially with what's going on social media, with defining your way of self-validation. And the downside of waiting for other people to validate you, to clap for you, is you can feel stuck. You can feel unappreciated. You can feel undervalued. And I understand that, we are all human beings out here. And like we said, we all want to be seen and heard. But when you wait for other people to validate you, you stop yourself in your own tracks. And I have an example of that. An example for me is I have wrote a book in my phone long time ago. A long time ago. I had the book written in my phone. I had the draft for asthma control, please, 9 steps for community engagement and asthma awareness. So I had this book, and I kept holding back releasing the book, because in my head I was like, who am I to write a book? No one gave me permission to write a book. I didn't have a PhD. I just didn't feel like I could do it. You know what I'm saying? And if I was somebody that waited for other people to approve my stuff, I would have never have released that book and set out and put out into the world that value of what I do in real time. I know what I'm talking about. And I also know the gaps, because I'm seeing it in real time. So I know there's value in what I'm putting out. And so when I put out the book and I started to create content and speak more about those topics on the podcast, I did start to get to see that this was a good thing to do, to put this out there and allow the book to be what it's supposed to be and help the people that it's supposed to help. So if I was waiting for approval, I would have never have put that thing out, and it would have sat in my phone doing absolutely nothing, not helping anybody. So it was a win-win. So it was a win for me because it helped build my self-validation. It helped like nurture it. And now I know I don't have to wait for other people to clap for me, because ultimately I learned how to clap for myself. Whenever I say something and then I actually do it and I could see the product, the results in my face, it's a time to celebrate the wins. It don't matter how big, how small, a win is a win. Yes. Okay, so self-validation and building self-validation is good for our mental health. So how we do that is by celebrating those small wins. Like I said, every win is a win. So we need to set our goals, right? Set our goals, and just progressively, as we are checking off that checklist, right? We celebrate the wins along the way. So this really helps with building our self-validation. You can also do something like keeping a success journal. For me, I actually have a success list on my phone, because this, and especially when the negative talk starts to kick in, if you're trying to do something new and let's say you felt like it didn't turn out the way that it was supposed to, then the negative talks start to come in, right? A great way to offset those negative talk is to look at your success list or your success journey. And that is ultimately another tip, is make sure you're often having mindful reflection, right? So you can look at your success list, and this will help you to reflect on how far you have gotten, right? And I think this is always, I've had past episodes on talking about fourth quarter wins. Being that the year is almost over, we already talking about holiday season. This being the fourth quarter is a great time to reflect on what you set out to do at the beginning of the year and just seeing how far you've gotten. And even if you have not checked off everything, you probably have done something and did not even celebrate that thing yet. So this is the time to celebrate how far you have came, and you still have time to set a goal and get a last minute win, right? Yes. So guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope I helped someone out here. Let me know. I mean, do you feel the same? Have you had any issues with self-validation and, waiting for other people to clap for you, give you permission to do things, especially that's near and dear to your heart? So talk to me. Let me know if you've had any of these issues. All right, guys. So yes, know that we are growing together. Yes, we are here every Wednesday, except for when I'm on vacation, on Spotify, and we are on YouTube on Thursdays, guys. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next time. And remember to invest in yourself and to only compete with yesterday's version of you. I'll see you next time. Bye.